Welcome to
CryptTeaze Family Fun Night.
All right. Hey, everybody, I'm Chase Will.
Hi, I'm Robin.
I'm Sean Wheeler.
I'm Lucas Liner.
I'm Shawn Burkett.
And this is CryptTeaze Family Fun Night.
Woo!
Today we're talking about the 2005 movie Hard Candy, directed by David Slade and written by Brian Nelson. Sean, you picked this one. Can you tell us how it influenced you? Like, why did you pick this one? Because this is a fucked up movie.
I mean, in all honesty, this is the film that after I saw it, I was like, I need to try to make a movie or something. This was a game changer. Like for me personally, because I had never really, back then I was more into just mainstream horror and that kind of thing. And I came across that. And I can remember after watching it, I called my best friend at the time and I was like, man, you need to watch this movie. It is a trip. It blew my mind. And yeah, eventually that's what got me into filmmaking. Like I just never experienced anything like that.
Dude, this
Neither
is
have
setup.
I.
Who here watched it for the first time? I gotta ask.
It was my first time.
Yeah, mine.
And Sean, you said you watched it years ago, right?
So this came out my senior year of college, and I've always been really into cinema. I actually studied it for a while in school before switching to writing. So this was on my radar pretty quick, and at the time, it's like I was working young with disposable income, so I just picked up a copy based on a friend's recommendation. So I've had a copy forever, and I loved it. I mean, the first 20 minutes of it are so damn uncomfortable, but it's also so brilliant because that you just don't feel bad about anything that happens to the guy thereafter.
Well, I like too, like, I'm going to spoil not really spoilers. If you're watching this, I assume you've seen Hard Candy. But in the first scene where she goes, yeah, like 10 doctors have said I'm mentally unstable. And then it comes back later. She's like, I did tell you.
Right?
Like, Robin, what'd you think of the movie?
Yeah, it was definitely all really uncomfortable. And I like, too, how you couldn't always see exactly what, like, when she was doing the operation. Like, I like that little bit of mystique to it, too. So it wasn't just all, like, in your face. You got the picture.
Yeah. It was a rubber band she was cutting, wasn't it?
I think.
Because I know she wasn't actually doing the operation, was she? I'm trying to think what.
No, it was a mind fuck. Yes.
I was just trying to remember if it was either that movie or another one where somebody does a similar thing, but they cut a rubber band. I think.
Oh, that's Fight Club.
Oh, okay, yeah. Wires got crossed. So much ball cutting.
Wow.
Jesus. Those are two hell of wires to get crossed.
If it has ball cutting, it's all kind of the same, right? But goddamn, Patrick Wilson in this movie just creeped me the fuck out in that first
Oh
scene.
my
And
God.
he got progressively better as it went. Like, he's such a genius.
Yeah, I like him a lot, too. So it was hard to watch for those reasons, too. It's like, it's just a movie, thank God.
Lucas, what'd you think of it?
Patrick Wilson was scary good in this. And looking at it, like, Elliot Page was like 18, I think, when this came out. So he was probably like 17 when it was shooting, or maybe it just turned 18. And just the way that he nails Haley as a character was just unreal. I mean, there's only a handful of actual characters in the film. So it's definitely, you get to know these characters extremely well, almost too well, especially in the case of, oh my God, I forgot his name and I can't find his name in my notes. Patrick Wilson's character. Shit. Oh well.
That's his name. Shit, oh well.
His name's
It's
Jeff.
not. I'm sorry. I watched this
Canadian
like
name.
last week and got busy. But anyway.
Yeah.
But like, I loved how this was about just the uncomfortability of people and how you think you know people, you think you know a movie, and this goes against the grain in just so many ways.
Yeah.
And one of those ways somebody pointed out today, too, is that it has no soundtrack.
Yeah, we were talking about it on Facebook, Chase and I were, and one of your friends had pointed out, like, yeah, there's hardly any sound. And I had that in my notes. I'm like, during the the surgery scene where you expect there to be some really like tense, dramatic music, there's virtually nothing besides Haley just deriding him.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it even more uncomfortable, and then compounded like with what Robin was pointing out with the fact that you don't see the surgery. You're forced to put those kind of things in your own imagination, and it just drives it over the fucking edge.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to touch on something you mentioned, that there aren't many characters in this movie. And I think it's actually really funny, just because of the point that she was in her career, that Sandra Oh got third billing for this. So, like, her name was on the movie posters, but she shows up for that one scene. And just imagine how, like, freaked out you would have been if you went to watch this movie because you're like, oh, I like Sandra Oh. What the hell am I watching?
Well, and this was around, wasn't this like maybe a year before Grey's Anatomy, which is what I at least remember her for. Wasn't this like right before Grey's or like
yes,
right
but
I
I think
remember
this was,
ER, I think.
But I think this was after Sideways, which is where it kind of started putting her on the map, if I recall.
Oh shit, yeah.
I gotta say, I kind of kept waiting for that scene to pay off because she shows up, and I was like, she has to show up again somewhere, but she never does. She never comes back.
She
Chekhov's
sees her
Judy.
up on the roof, and then she goes in later, and that whole conversation was just like, whoa, what's going on here? And she's trying to get back inside. It's just
So, favorite moments? Anybody have one? I mean, the whole thing is kind of like one long stretch moment, so it's kind of hard to pick, I guess.
one of my favorite things that she said was when she gets the lock combination, she's like, oh, you're so sentimental.
Just the constant just derision and just punching down, which, okay, he's an assumed rapist and pedophile, so I don't feel bad. At no point do you really feel bad for him, but just the way that Haley just rains down insults and pulls zero punches is just wonderful. And they're not like childlike insults. Like, it comes around like the whole mature for her age line, and it just turns into her just insulting him, not like a child, which is what he sees her as, but as a grown-ass, mentally unstable, as is pointed out, woman.
Shawn, do you have any favorite moments?
Okay, but is she mentally unstable?
I don't know.
I
You
would
have to
argue,
do something.
no, I would argue not. She is on a mission, and you see that later when, he's like, hey, I'll give you the name of who actually did it, and she's like, oh no, I know him, as in like, that's how I found you. This is not a girl on a one-off predator hunt. This is clearly a girl on a mission, and you only get to see this one aspect of her mission, but she's out there like she's got a plan. And that's honestly what comes my favorite part of the movie is there's all these moments when it's like, oh, you think he's going to escape or get in a one-up. And in most of them, oh, no, she has a plan for it. She almost set things up to see like, oh, is he going to try and like do something stupid? Well, I'm going to counter it, but now I know he still hasn't learned anything, so I'm just going to turn it up another notch.
Well, like the first time I was watching this, I was actually like the first half of the movie, I guess, until she actually finds the pictures. I was like, wait, what if she's wrong and she does have the wrong guy? Because I thought that was going to be the twist at the end. Like she did have the wrong guy.
How do you
read
that opening? How do you read those opening text messages and it all think like, oh, this could be the wrong guy? Like,
well, no, like,
but the crux of it,
he was for sure a creep. But I was like, what if this isn't the guy who killed the girl? And like, what if
who killed the Donna girl?
What if this is somebody who didn't take it that far yet?
I don't care. Like there was evidence he was a pedophile. I have no problem with anything she did based on that, regardless if he killed somebody.
Well, I'm saying like before she found that evidence, though.
Oh yeah.
What was that?
Just meeting at the coffee shop in general, like
that was pretty.
14-year-old. That's. Yeah. But no, I get what you mean because I mean I had that thought, but it was just because I'm like shocked and trying to mentally process.
I maintain you have to be some degree of fucked up to like simulate a castration. So I don't know. And I think there's an argument to be made about the way the like meticulousness of Haley's planning and plotting. I mean, it's Saw like in nature is what I think of, as was my kind of touch point for how like the foolproof and how watertight some of the plans get anyways. And I argue there has to be some kind of this is not a normal girl. This is not somebody who's just I mean, I'm a teacher. I don't see this being one of my students. Put it that way.
Shawn, you were going to say something a second ago.
Yes, I love that everybody can have a different perspective about this, and that's another reason why I love this film, because it's like, I'm not gonna lie, like the first time I watched it and I was just like, wow, she did her homework. But then it's like, as the years went on, it's like I started seeing her as more of this, you know, like savant that was possibly on the spectrum, to where, I mean, because she was always like 5 steps ahead. She knew that she was going to talk him in to what happened at the end. Like that was her goal. That was her game plan before we even knew it.
And that part,
So
yeah,
it's
too,
like-
she's like, I'll take care of it, or will I? And it just cuts. It's like, holy
Oh, that
Right.
Was,
shit. Like, I want to see a crossover movie with her taking down someone like Jigsaw just to get them getting the best of each other. I gotta believe that's gotta
I'd
be.
buy that for $1.
Jigsaw or a
Yeah.
14-year-old.
Speaking of crossovers, stuff like that, what would you guys want to see as a deleted scene in this? If you could add something into this movie, what would it be?
Honestly, for me, it would be a little more aftermath of what she does after the fact. And by that, I mean, so you get all this information from her that's like, do you think any of that information I gave you is real? It's like her character is entirely like, oh, no. I created a persona. I catfished you. I did all this to play with you and torment you because you deserve it, you sick fuck. So I want to see, like, what is her apart from this? Because she actually made a personal call, like, hey, I'm going to go to the movies with this friend. Like, I'm literally done fucking this guy's life up. I'm about to go see a movie with some friends. And I'm like, what is this person's normal life? Like, I want to see that 100%. Like, I want that transition, just like, I'm walking away and going back to normal life. Hi.
Like, they're at the
is this
movies
like-
and she's like, what'd you do today? And she goes, oh, I just had met with a friend. It's like completely blows it off. Because like she was able
met
to
a friend for
she was
coffee.
able to go
At the
between characters so
office.
quickly.
Like, you have to wonder if there's like a pedophile torturing ring, which I think would be one of the most awesome like tales of revenge I could think of. Like, does she have friends that are like, oh yeah, no, I found this guy and this and this, and it's like, what'd you do to him? Chinese water torture? Fuck yeah.
Oh, she did mention too when he was saying this is torture. She goes, "Oh, you don't know what torture is." Like she's very much does. Like she is apparently like study this shit.
You don't realize how accurate she really was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she wasn't just like talking tough shit to talk tough shit. It was because she could, and that was, it was like crazy to see her keep delivering it too.
Oh yeah. I was gonna point out too something I caught this time around. The costume choices were one really great thing. Like the red hoodie for one. I think it was supposed to remind you like a Little Red Riding Hood, right?
I didn't get that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that 100%.
And then
Yeah.
also the part where she puts on his glasses and his coat, she literally switches roles with him. She goes from the prey to the predator. And like the visual representation of that was just so well done.
Shit, I didn't pick up on that. Fuck.
She's like toying around in the seat. She wears his jacket
I
and
was
his
just
glasses,
shocked.
like as she's telling him how fucked he is. I was like, whoever, what's his name? David Slade, that's the director. I'm gonna keep standing his name because damn it, he deserves it. It was just so masterful. I fucking love this movie.
Shawn, if there was a scene that you would like to see added, if you could add a scene to this, what would it be?
I would have liked to seen I should have watched this more recently because I can't remember names or anything. But the people that she refers to where that's how she was led to him.
Yeah, the guy who he's saying actually killed that girl. Yeah.
It would have been great to, I don't know. I mean, because at that point we could still at least do shitty cell phone videos or pictures or something for just to like bring on the, well, I mean, that was a really amped up part either way. But something along those lines, maybe, because it's almost that out of sight, out of mind. It's like, because in filmmaking, when you're filming a conversation between two people, you should have like a wide to see the room, to see where both people are in the room, to where it's like those people just kind of seem like made up people because they weren't there in any way.
Interesting. This is going to sound non sequitur, but trust me, I'm going through it. Have you ever read The Crow?
No.
Comic?
Yeah, the actual cold opening is something kind of similar, and it's brilliant. He's trying to find information out about people, and he's like, "Hey, like I forget the guy's name. I think it's like Big Tony. It's like Big Tony gave me your name. He'd never give me up." He pulls a bloody pair of shears out of his pocket, and he's like, "Oh, he did. It took like 9 fingers, but he gave you up. I'd show them to you, but he had to eat them as well." And like, yeah, and it's just like, that's that visual evidence, like the pulling out of the shears. Like if she had that picture, something to really ratchet up. Like, oh no, I'm on this. Like you don't got shit. What now?
Well, I think that was kind of safe for the ending, though, too, because when she's saying, like, it's funny, when I was getting this guy, before he killed himself, he told me he didn't do it. Because it was kind of like, I think it was saving that punch for that ending scene.
Right, but he's saying if she had a picture of him there, like if she pulled out a picture of, like, here's your partner, bitch.
Yeah, like, so, yeah, I see what you're saying now. I see what you're saying now.
Because we never got to see what that guy looked like or what his name was or anything like that.
There was a name. I think there wasn't. She did have a name. I think it was Aaron. Like that's how she confirmed that she already knew who it was.
Okay.
She knew his name. But I completely agree with Shawn here. Had she had like a picture of like, that's what I did to him, like that would have really like wrecked his world. Like, oh shit, like there is not a way out. Like I play her game or I am fucked.
Because for me, at that same point in time, still. We don't know who actually killed the girl.
Yeah.
Wait, isn't the ending that he actually did it?
It's he said, she said, as in he said he witnessed it, but the other guy did it. And the other guy who she's saying she already killed or already took care of said the same thing, that he watched, but that this guy did it.
I took that as him as like trying to get one last bit of like dignity, I guess, before dying. I thought he was just trying to like save his name just a little bit or something. I took it as he definitely did it.
I think it was Jeff was involved with it, and he took photos of it.
Yeah.
Because
I read it as that, and that was his way of trying to be like, well, I didn't touch her, but it doesn't matter. He's just as guilty.
To where she basically played him against his ex, who he was still very much in love with, and she's like, I'll destroy the photos, but you got to do this. Just go up, tie that rope around your. I'll tie the rope. You just go out and do your thing.
Break a leg.
Like,
quite literally, and that's also that's what I love about it. It's like, they cut away, you don't see it, but you hear the noise, and you're just like, oh shit, like.
All you have to do is watch him walking off, though, to me, because that's just...
And that's the thing, the sound design with this movie as a whole. Just, holy shit.
There's no music in real life.
Well, and that's something that's awesome, because the sound design, that's another thing that I love about this movie, is because independent films, or even like thrillers or horror films, weren't doing like a whole lot of like aspect wide sound design then. So it's like I see this as kind of like one of the firsts that started to push that for other people.
Yeah.
What other ones were there that's similar?
Oh my god, I can't even think of any back then. Like trying to think of anything I've recently watched other than the last Blair Witch film that had great sound design.
Well, I mean, I think so. While you're thinking, a place for me where the sound really shines through here and the lack of music is the intensity. You know, when she ambushes him because he thinks she's taking a shower, and the combination of that taser going off with the water running and the sounds of the struggle, like music would have ruined that scene. That scene plays so well because you can just feel the intensity of that moment through all those different, sound pieces that are all just naturally going on. And I mean, had you put music over that, it would have just completely taken away the emotional intensity of that moment.
It feels like very much this film feels like a changing of the guard as far as thrillers go. I remember I took a class for Miskatonic where they talked about Bernard Herrmann, who was the composer for Alfred Hitchcock, and how Herrmann and Hitch, as he called him, went back and forth about. I'll drink to that, but they were talking about the importance of sound and how I believe it was the intro of Psycho almost came in without that super tense music that we all know, or like the first minute of the movie or whatever after the credits. And Herrmann fought with Hitch forever about it. Where in this movie, I think putting that music in would have taken away from it. It's done in such a way where there's the absence of it. You don't even really notice it's gone until a couple of points. And I think one, and I keep coming back to it because it just hits me on so many levels, is the castration scene. Just the fact that she's talking just so casually and almost matter-of-factly through that whole scene, and you don't have music, you don't have some classical strings or anything that you might see in a surgical kind of scene. It's so blunt without the visual, the visual of somebody getting their huevos cut off, but it's just so that just gets me about this film. I'm overly excited about it.
If there was a string
never seen a film.
played, if there was a string instrument being played, when she snips, you would have to hear one of the strings popping. That's what I would add in if I were to ruin this movie somehow.
Or even just pluck, or somebody's playing a violin, pluck the string with the snip.
But yeah, I also want to point out too is visually other things in this movie, just the part where he's walking off the roof, the way that's shot, where it's all silhouettes. I love that part. That works so well. And there's also a part too, I don't know if you guys noticed, but when he kind of snaps after he's going after her with a knife, and he's like, "Thank you, you've helped me see I am this person. This is who I am."
Yeah.
He's stabbing that picture. Did you guys notice where he's stabbing the whole time?
In her chat,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was I think that was done on purpose. I don't think that was a character choice. I think that was a director choice.
Wasn't she with the same auburn hair as that girl too, though?
I didn't notice that.
The girl in the picture.
I don't know. Maybe, yeah.
I thought it was that orangey red hair or brownish. I don't know if it was the same girl, but it might have symbolized that he was the one that killed her.
I also noticed too the entire house. There's all this red. There's so much red going on in this movie. When it's going between shots, you see just red on the screen as it's transitioning, and then all the walls are red.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much about this stylistically that I love, and I think it would make a great play too. I don't know if you guys agree with that or not. I think it's be a good stage play
because it's very one-on-one.
Yeah, it's just two people. It's almost like Bug.
Right, it's in a singular location, so you don't have to. You could make that set relatively easily for a show, and maybe only have to change it once or twice.
Right, mainly in the beginning.
Well, yeah, but
maybe the front door.
Yeah, but even then, it just occurred to me, it's you could really have one of the setups where it's because I've seen this done before, where you could just where they have it on a rotation, so they spin the whole thing, so suddenly now you have the exterior and the interior, but it's still just one set. It's that simple.
I saw a Fan of the Opera 2. It's called Love Never Dies. They have that. It's a whole turntable where it's the other set. There's another side of the stage.
There's a Phantom of the Opera 2?
I was just about to say, there's this.
It's Andrew having fun with himself.
Is
That's
it
all there is to it.
Is it as
Oh,
bad
yeah.
as Rocky Horror Part 2?
I haven't seen that, but
Shock
Dude, I
treatment?
just watched
It
Shock
definitely
Treatment.
is like a you know, fanfic a little bit.
All right, so if you guys were to recast this movie, who would you have in the two main roles?
Oof.
I don't know, because Elliot Page and Patrick Wilson fucking crushed this.
This is a hard one.
She might be getting a little old for the role now, but somebody else I think could have done the role would have been Chloe Grace Moretz.
I could see that.
Ooh.
She has terrific range. Like
That's
I
a
think
good
she
shout.
could
Okay.
like go ham
think
with a
that-
character like this.
Ooh.
I think the girl that did Beverly in the first It chapter would be really good.
I
Oh,
can't think
okay.
of her name, but yeah, no, I see it.
Sophie something. Yeah, she would be really good. I just
I
have
could
to
see,
think.
if I had a time machine, Emma Roberts.
And I guess Bill Skarsgård, hell.
Oh shit!
There's nothing Bill Skarsgård can't do. The whole
This
Skarsgård
is
family
true.
can just
He-
do pretty
Oh,
much
yeah,
anything.
you know, honestly, you know who I think would do a really good job, just based on some other stuff I've seen him do? Chris Evans.
I could see that.
Like, if you've ever seen
Patrick, but
The Iceman, like he plays like
The
he basically
Kuklinski biopic.
the one with Michael Shannon.
Yeah, the Richard Kuklinski.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
that was
gosh,
so
he-
good.
Right, like he is so creepy and in so much like hair and makeup, you don't even realize it's him to the end. And you're like, Chris Evans was that psycho?
Right.
Like after that performance, I'm like, oh dude, like Chris could kill it as like, oh hi, I'm suave and charming and don't you love, and I'm losing my mind.
Am I to
And I'm
understand Chris
terrible.
Evans has played the Human Torch and an Iceman?
No. He's called the Iceman because he froze the bodies so that you could not figure out time of death.
That makes sense. Sean, what about you? How would you recast this?
I was about to be like, is that a real thing? I had to think about that for a second. I would, if I had to recast it, I would set this back like in the early 90s, no matter what. And I'd have to go with like Bill Paxton as Jeff.
Ooh.
And I'm trying to figure out if the age gap would be enough. And someone like Alicia Silverstone or something.
I was wondering if you were going to go with
Like-
that when you said 90s, but like, what a perfect icon from the 90s to throw into this kind of role.
Damn,
Right.
that would be good.
I could see that. How about the 90s grain to it?
Oh, I don't know if I can. Oh shit.
Because Bill Paxton, ever since Weird Science, that's the right one, right? That's the right Bill.
Weird
I get
Science.
Paxton and Pullman mixed up to where I'm
I
like,
didn't know they were different people for the longest time.
the guy from Twister.
Paxton,
That's Bill
that's
Paxton.
Okay, I got it right.
Nice.
Could have saved all that embarrassment. Anyways, I've never liked his face since Weird Science when he did that thing with the cigar and he like acts like he's puking, and I've always just like he's as good as a pedophile to me. So let's
Oh no.
just know that just
Goes cigar guys, pedophiles.
I don't know who I would recast if not Elliot Page because he just fucking kills as Haley. It was just unreal.
I would also like to point out how strange it is because, I mean, this is where he came on my radar. Because this was out substantially before Juno.
yeah,
if
a
I
couple
recall.
years.
Yeah, and so it's just like, that is the moment so many people know the actor from, but like watching that movie after having seen this one, you're just like, wait, what?
Yeah, I've never seen Juno. I've only heard good things though.
It's pretty
Once
great.
forever.
It's one of those I think everybody should see it at least once, but that's just me.
Doesn't it have Michael Cera in it?
Yeah.
Yes.
And to be fair, people
To be fair.
I've heard from multiple interviews and such, people who have met Elliot say that as a person, they remind them very much as like the Juno type character. But that's not a lot of acting. They're just kind of like quirky and fun.
That's kind of who they are. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.